Welcome to Parenting with Enemy or Rebel. Today is all about consequences. Yes, one of the challenges we have in parenting is behaviors. The way our children behave. We always have one thing we either want them to stop doing or want them to start doing. And it's one of the reasons we yell, one of the reasons we smack, we threaten, we nag, we even lecture. Today we are going to be looking at consequences, natural consequences, logical consequences, and how we can even come about them and how we can apply them and how we can sit down, relax, and have our children's behaviors modified without necessarily having to jump in. Because the truth of the matter is, every time you are jumping in the way, you think, oh, my child misbehaved, I'm flogging my child, I'm yelling. Many times it's actually over parenting. You know why? Because you are not allowing your children experience the natural consequences of their actions. Yeah, the world is all about consequences, the results of our daily choices. You make a bad choice, you face it. You make a good choice, you face it. So how will your child learn if you are the one giving them the consequences? No. So it is about your child. So you want to sit back and have your child learn the results of their actions. From there, they will learn better. It is one of the ways to actually get your child to stop doing those things or start doing those things. Again, welcome to Parenting with Enemy or Rebel, and my name is Enemy or Rebel. I'm the lead coach at the Visionary Parent Academy, where we actually coach and mentor parents. We start by crafting our vision, and then we get empowered daily with tools, with skills, to actually achieve our vision, our parenting vision at the end of the day. So if you want to join us in the academy, you want to leave a message in the comment section and we'll give you all the information about how you can join us. If you are new here, welcome. Yay, you're in the right place. I tell you, we have a lot of empowering classes. So you want to sit back and go back to our pages and see what you can learn. See your parenting needs. We have videos that have answered your parenting questions and have met your parenting needs. I assure you that you want to go in, watch everything you can, drop your questions in the comment section, and I will always be here to take your questions. And you want to subscribe so that you don't miss our beautiful transformational classes. And again, what you want to do again, you want to take this link, just copy it, put it on your statuses, on your stories, share in your communities, in your children's school communities, in your alumni communities, in your groups, church, and everywhere you belong. Tell people that, hey, there is a parenting masterpiece in this place, so they can all come for us to all learn together and raise a better society for ourselves, especially for the future generation, our children. Again, welcome to Parenting with Enemy or Rebel. So today is all about consequences. Yes, how we can use consequences in our parenting to actually achieve the results we want. So what are consequences? What are consequences? They are simply the result of our daily choices. Everything you do has a consequence. I say to my children every time, everything we do has a consequence. Now, the truth of the matter is, many times you can choose your action, you choose what you do, but you don't choose the consequences. Nah, you do not choose the consequence. No, you choose your action, you don't choose your consequences. It's how life works, it's how everything happens. So I created this short video with my children to teach them the relationship between their actions and the outcome, the consequences. They can choose their actions, but hey, their consequences, nah, they may not be able to choose them. So it's a video that will benefit your children, so you can recreate it or you can just extract it and use. So watch it. I want to demonstrate something to you today on actions and consequences. I always tell you that every action has a consequence. Now, you are going to action and consequences are like this stick you are seeing on the ground. This stick here. So you pick that side, pick it up, hold it there. What do you have there?
Action.
Good. Turn it to the other side. What do you have there?
Consequence.
Fantastic. That's what happens. Give it to Noel and give it to Ebuka too. Action and consequences. That is what you have there. Now, the thing is, when you pick one side, you have automatically picked the other side. Do you understand?
Yes.
You get to choose your action. Now, put it down. Let's look at it again. Put it down. That's the action, right? One side. Now, pick it up. Are you the one choosing where to pick up?
Yes.
You pick it up. So, are you the one choosing the consequence attached to it?
No.
That is how it works. You choose your actions, but you never ever choose the consequences.
Like now. Can I demonstrate?
Let me finish, please. You choose the action. You always choose your actions. You always have a choice. But you never choose the consequences that comes with it. You don't have the right to choose the consequences. So what you do is, in every aspect of life, whether you are a child or you grow up into an adult, it is what it is. Every single action of yours has a consequence. For example, when you become an adult, some companies, when people come late, what do? You can ask your teachers, what do they do when they come late? They deduct their salaries. What that means, they reduce their salary. They already have it written down. They'll say when you come late to school or come late to work, you are going to pay 10,000 naira at the end of every day. Every day you pay. So at the end of the month, they remove, if the person comes late to work 5 times in the month, they remove the 10,000 naira. They remove 10,000 naira times 5. That's 50,000 naira from the person's salary.
And what is the salary? 50,000 naira.
Then that is it. What does that mean? If salary is 50,000 naira, what does that mean?
You lose all your salary.
So why did you lose your salaries?
Because you came late to work.
That is it. Are you responsible for coming late to work?
Yes.
But the consequence, you are not responsible for it. It is what it is. Because if they allow everybody to be coming late to work, for example, when people are late to work, it will affect their productivity. And when their productivity is affected, it will affect the quality of the company. So because of that, they put those rules in place. Now, even when they don't put those artificial rules in place, life has consequences naturally. Naturally, life has consequences. So whenever you choose your actions, always know that there's a consequence. Once you pick the action, the other side of the action is a consequence. Now, if you look at the way I did this, and I deliberately did it in the way that put it down. When you put your action, you pick your action, right? The consequences is facing the other side. You may not readily see the consequence. So it's not like it's just telling you, hey. Sometimes you have to pause and think. It is why before you choose any action, once you want to take your action, what do? The process of turning the stick to see the consequence is you weighing it. Weighing your actions and making sure that the consequences are actually what you want. They are what you can handle. Like Princess Irene was telling you in your class, right? You have to evaluate the information you are receiving. That's not about information you are receiving. Now we are talking about the consequences. You have to flip it. You pick up the action. You turn the stick to the other side. It simply means you have to pause and think. My action right now, what consequence is my action going to give me? How do you know the consequences? You look at the people around you who have taken that action in the past and the consequences they have had to face. It's one of the things you have to look at. Then you sit back again and ask yourself, is this consequence what I really want? Do I want this? Because guess what? It is all up to you. Do you understand that? Your actions are always up to you. You have a right to choose your actions, but your consequences, hell no. Welcome back. So like I was saying, actions and consequences are like two sides of a stick. You pick the action, is your choice. Then the consequence is what you ask for. You can choose your action because God has given you a brain to think. God has given you free will to make your choice. So you pick your action and the consequence is also what goes with it. So you can't remove the consequence from the action. Okay, so that's for the children. So you let them know that when you are teaching them about action and consequences, because at the end of this class, I expect you to actually ditch your old pattern of discipline and begin to let natural and logical consequence actually do the teaching for you. If you were in our emotions mastery class last month, then you should be able to get hold of your emotions by now. Have a lot of strategies to help you be in a better place as a parent emotionally. And then applying consequences, natural and logical, will not be a struggle for you at all. So why do we consider natural consequences? Because what I am going to be talking about today are natural consequences. So what are natural consequences? They are the results, they are the consequences that happen that are not influenced by you as a parent. Your children have done something. The outcome of it, you don't have a hand in it. Like I have no hand in it. You did not influence it. That is natural consequence. It happens. For example, a child doesn't want to eat, or maybe the child is angry and doesn't want to eat. The child, what happens when you're angry? When you don't want to eat, rather, what happens? You become hungry. I remember one time back then in Lagos, when we were still in Lagos, one morning, I don't remember what really happened. My son, I think he was about 10 years old then, he was angry, he didn't want to eat. That was the first time he was eating. So I just told him, eat. He was still, so I just said, okay, let's go to church. After all, we're going to close like 12:30. It was not going to be such a long time. And so when we got to church, and my son is not such he loves to eat, but he's not someone who is always into food. No, he can choose not to eat. If he doesn't want to eat by himself, he can choose not to eat for a long time. I always have to tell him, eat. For example, going to school, I always remind him to eat. But that day, because he was angry, he didn't want to eat. And guess what? Now, because he was angry, he knew that he was not he didn't eat because there was something, like he loves to draw. When he's drawing now, he doesn't remember to eat. He likes to read story books, action books, and all of that. There are so many books that when he's reading, he doesn't like to eat. He doesn't remember to eat until I'll say, okay, you may miss this particular meal. If you don't come, then he will rush down to eat. So that particular day, he was angry and he did not want to eat. Now, because hunger, because he didn't eat, not because he was doing something that actually he enjoyed doing. He didn't eat because he was the one that said he wasn't eat. So that actually made him hungry. I remember he came to church to meet me and that he was hungry. House key was with me, he was hungry. I said, okay, you're hungry. He left the children's class to come and meet me that he was hungry. I said, okay, it's fine. I know you're hungry, sorry about it. It's okay, but when we get home, you are going to eat. Now, that hunger was a natural consequence of him not eating. I think since that day, my son has not refused food again. Since that day, he has not, has he been angry? Of course, he's still been angry a couple of times, but has he said no to food because of hunger? No, because after that day, one of the things we are going to learn here today is that after the natural consequence, you are going to take it as a teachable moment. So after that episode, after that morning when we got back from church, we sat down, we looked at it. I told him, we're angry and you did not eat. Who were you going to eat for? You were not eating for me. You were eating for yourself. Now, because you were angry, you denied yourself. Are you kidding me? Really? God forbid something happened now. It is you. You are the one that will get hurt. You are the one that, so it doesn't really make any form of sense that because you are angry, you are not eating. We had that conversation, and like I said, ever since then, he had not refused food because of anger. So natural consequences are those results that come naturally as a result of your child's actions. They are very many. They are always very many. Now, one of the things that happens is that parents, we are always afraid that natural consequences may be too severe. I remember a friend of mine saying, no, I'm not applying natural consequences. So my son, that was how he was running one day, he broke his hand, and I know how far we went and all of that to fix it. For every single thing, there's a boundary. Whatever you want to use, even when you want to use the cane to flog your child, will you go and flog your child and injure your child and maim your child? There is a boundary. So when when you know that there is danger, a life is involved. The life is there's a threat. There is danger. Then you don't allow natural consequence. You cannot say, oh, because a child is always wanting to cross the road and you want to allow natural consequence to play out. Even when the road is busy, you sit back and allow the child to cross the road. No, you should learn to create a boundary. There is yes, and there are consequences, whether natural or not, that are age appropriate for your child. So you want to pause and make sure that the consequences, the natural consequences, there is no danger. I hear people say a lot of the time that, that when your child, when the child is cold, when the weather is cold, your child doesn't want to wear a cardigan out of the house, that you should let your child will experience cold, and the child will learn, they will learn to always wear cardigan. It's a good one, it's a natural consequence. However, there are times that that the cold can cause your child, severe cold. So you don't want them to go inside the cold or go under the cold where the cold can be dangerous. So even when you are applying natural consequences, there are boundaries you should maintain. So why should you use natural consequences? Because it's how the real life works. Your child is in this world, and when things happen, when they make those bad choices or negative choices, you are not going there to give them the consequences. Life gives them consequences. So now when they begin to experience it in small bites, they begin to build capacity and realize that, okay, life truly, my actions truly invite the consequences. So if I want good consequences, I actually make better decisions. In the Visionary Parent Academy, we are reading a book currently, Parenting with Love and Logic. There was something the man said that actually made a lot of sense to me, or makes a lot of sense to me. He said that when children get to teenagehood, some of them, they experiment with drugs. And one of the reasons they experiment with drugs is because all their life, the most times they were not allowed to make decisions on their own. So now that they are teenagers, they want to make decisions on their own. So because they've not been allowed to practice decision making, so now that they're teenagers, they don't know how to make better decisions. And guess what? When you do not allow natural consequences to happen, whether you yell, you smack, and all of that, you are preventing your child. You are not allowing them to make decisions by themselves. Because what we do most of the time, we force them to do things. You want your child to do something. You don't want to give them an opportunity to actually to learn, to do the thing by themselves, to see the mistakes in that thing they are doing. What are you doing? You force them to do it. What are you doing? You are denying them that opportunity to actually make decisions on their own, learn from their decisions, make mistakes or whatever, and learn from their decisions and grow. That is one thing, one of the reasons you must use natural consequences, because the world doesn't wait for you to give your child consequences before the world gives your child consequences. Another reason is natural consequences are a proof of your parenting values, your sermons, or whatever you are teaching your child. Yes, this is why I always tell parents that whatever you are teaching must have a root in reality. You are not spontaneous. You are not random in your parenting. There is no room for spontaneity. You must sit down and be calculative. I always tell parents that, see, if your child is doing something, there's no natural or logical consequence then, and you want to impose consequences, it simply means that you are not taking your time to think. It simply means that child is not misbehaving. There is no point. Because for every behavior, there must be a natural and at least a logical consequence. Because the truth of the matter is not every behavior that allows for natural consequences. So there must be a logical consequence. So if you cannot come up with a logical consequence, it simply means that you need to check yourself. So another reason is it gives proof, it validates your parenting. If you tell your child and it makes them trust you. They are able to trust you because you have said A and it's actually A and it's A. You tell your child, okay, don't go outside. It's cold. Your child says, oh, I'll go outside. He goes outside and it becomes cold. What happens? Okay, mommy actually said this. Mommy is trustworthy. Mommy can be trusted. That is what happens in natural consequences. Now, one of the things that happens many times is when we yell, when we smack, when we do all those threatening and all of that, it becomes about us. And I always say that one of the things we need to pay attention to is raising children who can take ownership of their lives. That is one of the very things we want to focus on as parents. Raise children who can take ownership of their lives. And guess what? By you imposing, yelling, smacking and all of that all the time, you are not raising your children to take ownership of their lives, because that is about you. You are angry. You are reacting that way because you are angry. They are not. It's about you. It's not. It's like it is about you. You want to punish them. You want to get back at them for what they have done. It is about you. It is no longer about them. It is about them. When you let them, leave them. You want this. Okay, it's your choice. Go for it. You actually want them to do that. However, like I said, remember there's a boundary. There is what? A boundary. Now, one other thing that happens when you apply natural consequences is that it builds a bond between you and your child. And let me tell you how it happens. Yes, empathy. You have beautiful opportunity to show empathy to your child. You are not going to judge. Hell no. Definitely no. Because the experience they have experienced, the consequence of their action is already enough for them. They have learned already. So there's no point you come and pouring salt on injury. No, they have learned already. What are you going to do? You empathize with your child. You empathize with your child. That is what natural consequences allows you to do. Artificial consequences or imposed one or those threats and all of that, they don't allow you empathize with your child. So natural consequences or logical consequences allow you empathize with your child. You know, empathize and you sit down together and you problem solve. This one of the ways your child can trust you. That is why I said natural consequences build trust, because your child has received the consequences of his or her actions. So you don't even need to go back judging, condemning. I told you so. There is no need for I told you so. There is no need for good for you. There is no need for if you had listened to me. There is no need for I hope you have learned your lesson. No, there is no need to judge. There is no need to condemn, because your child has learned. So what you just do is just bring your shoulder. I'm always here for you. So that way, now you are not the one, your child is not scared of you. Your child will not be scared to come and say, oh, something happened, I cannot tell my parents. They are coming to boldly tell you, because you have always been there for them. And are you being permissive? No. Are you pampering them? No. You are just allowing them. They are enjoying it. They are facing, they are enjoying it. If it's enjoyment, the consequences of their actions, they are facing it. So you are not the enemy. No, you are not the enemy. So their choices, their behaviors, that lack of self-control, their indiscipline, is the enemy that they have to go and fight, and not you. That is another thing that happens when you allow your child to go through the consequences of their actions. I mean natural consequences. Now, I know it's not in every situation that will have natural consequences. We'll come to that. Okay, so let's go to the second part, which is logical consequences. What does that mean? Simply means that the consequences that are related to the misbehavior or to the offense the child has committed. Now, one of the things we do many times as parents is that we smack, we yell. No, they are not logical consequences. They are so off a way. No wonder they really don't teach lessons. They are so off. Now, the real world works on either logical consequences or natural consequences. Like I said, it is not on every situation you have natural consequences. I'll give you an example. For example, you have a child where the siblings are gathered and the child is there, maybe making noise, shouting or singing loud. Let me use the word singing very loudly. And the siblings are saying, oh, you are disturbing me. Your song, your voice is too loud. Can you bring it down? And the child says he doesn't want to bring it down. So what do you do? What is the logical consequence? Because there's no natural consequence. There's nothing that can happen from that. No. So what are you going to do? So since our values as a family is consideration towards others, and you are not being considerate right now, is okay. You want to sing, right? Others, they want to have their peace and quiet. We can have a win-win. Yes. So what are you going to do? You are going to excuse us. You go to your room, then you can scream. You go to your room, you lock your door. You can scream your voice out or sing your voice out. Is okay. That is it. Your child goes to his or her room to sing. Now, if you do not want to go to your room to sing, then you can choose to give us peace and quiet. That is logical consequence. Now, the real world works is about logical consequence. Let me give you a practical example. Someone steals. What happens? We have an armed robber. The armed robber is a threat to the society. What is done to him? He is put away. He is put in prison. Why is he put in prison? Because he is a threat to the society. Many times in some other countries, they will see that, okay, it is why they have a lot of explanations for, oh, they have is a psychopath, is a psycho this, is a psycho that, because they actually believe that someone in his or her right senses will not do certain things. So what do? They put them away where they put them in correctional centers. They put them away where they can begin to go through corrections and all of that. So logical consequences have to be related to the crime, to the offense the child has committed, to the misbehavior. And one of the things I always say to parents, before you come up with a logical consequence, you and your child, you need to sit down. Then you now need to talk about it. You have a conversation around it. Now, the truth of, even with natural consequence, because the truth of the matter is, sometimes children will not notice. They will not notice the consequence, like link it to their behavior. They will notice it, but they will not have internalized it after the first time. That is it. They will notice, but they may not have internalized it. It is why you don't let it pass without making it a teachable moment, having a conversation. The same thing happens to logical consequence. You just don't wake up and impose logical consequence. So one of the things I want you to do here as a parent, listening to me, for the Visionary Parent Academy members, don't worry, I'm going to give you a template. You know how we do it. You always get templates at the end of every class. Another reason you need to join us. Yes, I think, is it the 6th month already? We are already closing. You can still join us this month and next month. After that, we'll close for the year. Till next year, then you begin to join us from next year. You can start paying in bits to join us next year. We'll talk about that later. So I'm going to give you a sheet. So if you are not going to get the sheet, so what you want to do is to sit back and look at your children's behaviors. Which one do you think will have natural consequences? The behaviors that you nag about, you yell about, you smack about, and all of that. Which one do you think will have natural consequences? Which one do you think you have logical consequences? I'll give you more examples about logical consequences. Now, before we get there, remember that for every expectation you have of your child, they need skills. Yes, they need skills. Now, your expectations must be realistic. They must be realistic. You just don't wake up in the morning and say, okay, this is a misbehavior. How is it a misbehavior? You need to be sure it's a misbehavior before you can begin to give, you can begin to give logical consequences. Natural consequences, you don't even need to bother about it. They just do the thing and they get it by themselves. Natural consequences. So you actually sit back and you are not always interfering in your child's affairs. You are not always interfering. You are giving them room to develop on their own, independence. I know it's not easy. A lot of us, we can overparent for Africa. Yes, when you deny your child natural consequences, one of the things you are doing, you are overparenting. We can overparent for Africa. So yes, I'm guilty too. So we always want to prevent that natural consequences from happening, even when it's not dangerous. It's not like I shared it a while ago. I said, a friend of mine was talking about her son fell and injured, and I said, even no matter anything you want to do, there's a limit, there's a boundary. Natural consequences also have boundary. Once life is involved, is threatened, is a danger to life, then you don't have to allow the child to go through it. That's not what about natural consequences. Don't design to maim your child. Designed to actually make your child, shape your child, and build your child. So many times we jump in the way. We are preventing the child from experiencing independence, decision making, and all of that. So for your logical consequences, I was saying that one of the very first things you have to do is you are not going to sit down and impose it on the child. No, you and the child, you are going to sit down and talk about it, and you are going to relate it. You are raising your children for reality, for the real world. So your logical consequences are going to be related to the real world. If they are not related, then you are not doing it right. They must be related. Maybe in the Visionary Parent Academy, we'll talk about it more, how it will be related. They must be related. Let me give you a practical example. Now, let's say you have your child. You want your child to, you've always told your child to always organize your stuff. When you get back, put your items where they're supposed to be. Every day, do that, You keep telling your child that they don't want to do that. You are not going to yell. It's one of the things we do. You are going to wait for them to experience the logical consequence of it. How will they experience the logical consequence? Now, let's say your child, has a habit of just throwing his or her shoes anywhere. They don't keep them safe. So on a particular day, you want to step out and your child tells you, Mom, can I go with you? Or Dad, can I go with you? So of course, you can go with me. You can go and wear your outside. You go and wear your slippers for taking a walk, or go and wear your flip-flops for taking a walk. And your child goes in, because they have not carefully put it, they can't find it. They go back, look everywhere, they can't find it. They come, say, Mommy, can I wear my church shoes? No, those shoes are specifically made for church. You can't wear them for church. You have shoes for when you want to take a walk, right? You have shoes for schools, right? So your shoes for when you want to take a walk, go and wear them. A child ends up not finding it. You say, okay, you can stay at home with daddy, or you can stay at home with the nanny. Let me go with your siblings that were able to find their flip-flop. That is the logical consequence. Is that how the real life works? Of course, that is how the real life works. Well, one of the things I tell my children is, if you don't show responsibility towards something, it will be taken away from you. So when they are actually using something, they're using it carelessly. I'm going to put it away. For example, your child has, maybe they have a bicycle, for example. You tell them, don't put it outside because it can get stolen. They leave it outside. You go pick it. You can put it away for, I'm putting it away for 1 week. because you have not shown responsibility towards it. Let me give you a practical example. My daughter likes to make another practical example. I keep saying practical example. My daughter likes to make rag dolls. Oh, she makes rag dolls everywhere. Everything, every cloth not no longer being used, she converts to a rag doll. Do I like it? Of course, it's creativity. I absolutely love it. That she's thinking, she can just think, I want to make this kind of creature, I want to do this, I want to make that. It's absolutely beautiful. I love it because she's naturally creative. So, however, there's something she does. When she's done making the rag doll, you see the rags everywhere, you see her needle, her thread, everything all scattered everywhere. And I've told her a couple of times, Madam, don't throw your items indiscriminately again, you know, don't do that. I keep telling her. So I told her, I said, the next time I see your needle somewhere or your rags somewhere, I'm going to put your items away for a while. And the next day I saw her needles somewhere, I put them away, and since then she has not made rag dolls again. Now, do you know what happened? She's thinking creatively. The other day she was telling me that she wants to make rubber doll, no longer rag doll now, rubber doll, that she wants to get a couple of rubbers, plastic dolls, sorry. She wants to get a couple of plastic dolls, melt them and form a doll. I said, good and fine. Is a very brilliant one, so you can carry on. You know, that is what I'm trying to talk about. That's logical consequence. Why did I take those things away? Because they are littering the environment. They are littering the environment. You have needle put in a place carelessly. What if somebody sits on the needle? The person gets injured. Now, the reasons, is it logical reasoning? Of course it's logical. Does it apply to real world? Of course it applies to real world. I say to them that if you leave all your things scattered everywhere, for example, if you leave your things scattered everywhere, I leave my things scattered everywhere, your dad leaves his things scattered everywhere, and every member of the family leaves their things scattered everywhere, what do you think will happen? Oh, I tell you, the whole house will be filled with junk, and soon we will not even have a place to enter. Does it make sense? Of course it makes sense to real world. It is it. So your logical consequences must make sense. If it doesn't make sense, if your child cannot connect it with real world, then you know that you have not gotten it right. And like I said, you don't have to just wake up and impose it. You can sit with your child and look at it. You look at it. You tell your child why this is important. Let me give you another example, because I know when it comes to consequences, we all need examples to be able to actually it doesn't come naturally for everybody. So for some people, they need a bit of help. So that's what I'm offering you in this class. So let me give you another example. Like I said, like my children, for example, they don't have money since my oldest son is 12, because for a very long time I didn't give them pocket money, I didn't give them money, we didn't do money. No, we just buy everything in the house, and so they don't have money sense. So I realized they don't have money sense, and I decided that, okay, I'm going to deliberately teach children money sense. Unfortunately, I do not have a small business and money for them to come and see how money goes in and out. So one of the things I'm using is give them pocket money, like give them money. Instead of me to buy snacks for them at home, to go and buy snacks for them and buy snacks in bulk for them to be taken to school every day, I give them money. Sometimes we get snacks already, we give them. Sometimes I just give them money, just balance it so that they can use their money, they can determine what to buy with their money, they can determine, okay, how much they are buying and all of that with the money. So I told them something. They all belong to, two of them belong to mentorship classes. So I told them that, okay, they have a couple of things you put together in the morning before you go to school. So if you don't do those things, you don't meet your money task before we go to school, it simply means that all the things I've been teaching you about self-management and prioritization, doing the right thing at the right time, it simply means that it is not working. You have not understood it. So maybe I'm not a good teacher at that. So what we are going to do is we are going to get we're going to recruit someone else to join me in teaching you these things. So, and I'm not going to pay for my money, because I know that I'm a very fantastic teacher. I break it down. You need to follow me on Facebook, and some of the videos I have with some of the classes I have with my children. I shared one here on Tuesday or so, when I was teaching them about rules, using the late Pope Junior as why we need to follow rules and all of that. So I know that I can be very patient, and I break my classes with children are interactive. They are well broken down. So I expect you to understand. However, I'm not responsible for you taking action. Like I tell my children, if you don't take action, it's a total waste of your time, my time, and everybody's time. So I'm not responsible for you taking action. However, what I want to do is I want to believe that, okay, maybe I didn't teach you well, so I take responsibility. So we are going to recruit another teacher to teach you, and which means I'm not going to pay for that. You are going to pay. So you are going to pay with your own pocket money, which simply means that every time you get this money for snack, you are going to drop it. Every time you're supposed to take snack to school, you are going to not take it to school because you have your food already. You are going to not take it to school. We're going to put that money together until it's enough for us to hire a coach for you, and we hire a coach for you. So how about that? So that is it. Logical consequences. It simply means that that's how the real life works. When you have not known something, you realize that you don't know something. What do? You go and learn. You get trained. You make yourself available to get trained. It is what I'm trying to teach them with that consequence. Get trained. Now, I'm not going to be responsible for your self-growth. No, you take the responsibility for your self-growth. Now, I hope you have learned a lot. I hope all what I've been sharing with you makes sense to you. So a lot of the things we actually nag about, we yell about, we complain about, we can actually do without all of that if we just allow natural and logical consequences. Now remember, I said with natural consequences you have boundaries. Yep, you have boundaries. Yes, you don't say because you want natural consequences you allow your child to enter into a moving in front of a moving vehicle. Hell no. And then we also say that it has to be age appropriate. Remember, your expectations have to be age appropriate. And another thing I said is your children, your expectations, they need skills. Whatever you're expecting from your children, they need skills to be able to meet that expectations. And luckily for us, during this summer holiday, we are going to be teaching our children practical skills to help them take ownership of their lives, to help them become self-driven. And next month, June, from June 1st to June 30th, we have a challenge for parents to skill up their children. One strategy every day, practical, hands-on, for you to skill up your children. So you want to join that class, it's just 5,000 naira only. I tell you, if you ask people who join the emotions mastering class, they will tell you that we don't play. We don't play, man. We don't play pop, whatever that means. We don't play, really, we don't play. So you want to join that class. You want to take advantage of our Skill Up Your Child challenge. I'm looking forward to the challenge myself. I'm super looking forward to the challenge myself, because it's an opportunity for me to actually take it one day at a time to teach my children again in practical forms. I have people holding me accountable as I'm teaching it to my children. So it's an opportunity I'm looking forward to. Don't miss it. For what you will stand to gain, 5,000 naira is a steal. We'll stop here today and we'll continue in the Visionary Parent Academy. If you have questions, please do wait to ask in the comment section, and I will be glad to take them. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Enimi Orebo, and this is Parenting with Enimi Orebo. If you want to join the Visionary Parent Academy, it's okay to also leave your inquiry in the comment section, and I will also come to give you all the information you need. If you have any questions concerning our courses or our forthcoming courses, it's okay to ask, and we'll get all the details across to you. Remember, you get results when you take action. Even my children, I tell them that, hey, if you don't take action, it's a total waste. It is a total waste. This morning before they left for school, I was telling them that, see, if you get something, if you learn something, whether from book, whether from seminars, whether from mom or from your mentors or things like that, you do not take action, it's a total waste of my time, of my money, of your time, of your money, of your time, of your mentor's time. The time you spent listening is you would have spent the time playing, eating, or doing something else, is a total waste. So if you listen to this class, if you watch this class, if you watch this video, you have questions, you have any struggles, please just put them in the comment section and I will gladly take them. What I want from you is to take action, to take action. Trust me, with the action you are taking, you are going to get results. Thank you for joining me today. See you next time. Bye-bye.